So in today's video, I've been inspired by this video right here. I think some other guy was talking about it because, people like to throw around this term called functional muscle in the fitness industry. And for those who are new here, hi, I'm Will Power. I like talking things and talking shit online because guess what? I find certain things very, very stupid, which the term functional muscle is very stupid because these people will sell you a program saying you need certain exercises that you'll do in the everyday, like a farmer's walk, which, is a decent exercise. Kettlebells, they're not the greatest, but, they have some function to it. If you are dealing with, certain balancing issues, they're very good. But other than that, kettlebells are kind of shit. But anyway, functional muscle is what people are trying to throw around, which is, picking stuff up and doing all this kind of. And I'll just say to you right now, it's a bunch of rubbish because how do they explain, all this kind of stuff when it's a thing like, the gymnastics, which I showed, because gymnastics is a skill. I will just put it out there. A lot of things require a lot of skill, your MMA, your football, your basketball, and your rugby. Because guess what? Those things require literally years of work to become decent. Because those neural pathways have to go in. Because, say if you're a rugby player, you need to, hunch over in a certain way. If you need to tackle in a certain way, you need to have that mindset to go forward into somebody and kiss them on the mouth, because of course rugby is a completely straight sport. But less about rugby, we're gonna be like, I'm gonna give you a demonstration, not a demonstration, but an example where at my place of work, I lug around heavy equipment because, some people at my workplace can't do that because they're a lot weaker than me. Now, these are 20 plus kilos worth of stuff. I lug them around, take them upstairs, take them downstairs, take them everywhere, and do I do any of the picking up and then putting it on my shoulder, putting it back down, that kind of training that they kind of promote in these functional training programs? No, I do powerlifting and I'm somewhat strong. There you go. Because when people mention to me functional muscle is literally just strength. Are you strong enough to lift said thing? Yes. It's almost like people, develop neural pathways, by the way, to become stronger and lift something. And that's what people tend to get confused with, because everyday tasks will require, something to be picked up, something to, push off or whatever. And that's developed through the gym. And people saying, oh, I want, a farm man that's developed his muscle through hard-earned labor, is the most rubbish I've ever seen. And then they bring up demonstrations of Hafthor Bjornsson. Hafthor Bjornsson is a 6'8", 400 pounds of pure steroids and Viking heritage. He does not do anything functional. He lifts heavy shit, goes rah, and then fucking fucks off. That's Hafthor. That's his job. He's not doing anything functional. He can just lift a bunch of shit. And I'll get into this in the next video because it will be on, the women who are saying this, because it's not just men who say, oh, you need to build functional muscle. It's women too. So stay tuned for that. And, because I don't know if that video is going to bang or not, but simply, as a conclusion, don't fall for these scams of functional muscle and all this rubbish, because literally most of it's neural pathway work where you have to do it several thousand times to be good at it, or just strength. Someone's weak as shit, someone's strong as shit. They can't lift it, he can lift it. It's very, very simple logic, but I think a lot of idiots in this world lack that. So, but anyway, we shall get into the second half of week 4. So you'll get to see that, and yeah, we'll get into the video. So starting off the workout with some Larsen tempo press. This is just to help with, you know, power and everything in the upper body, because I feel like, you know, with my bench press strength, it mainly comes from my legs and everything, which, you know, this might help, this might not, but we will see literally in the next video, which I've already recorded, so I'm not gonna spoil it, but I might as well actually spoil it. But it did fuck all. Welcome to the Willpower channel, where today I experiment on literally my body to see if anything works, and adding in Larsen press hasn't really worked in terms of, you know, power output. But, you know, genuinely I think it is to do with, you know, lack of upper body strength, because you can see here I am doing 125, which you know, is to be expected to be a bit weaker, but when my tempo, you know, kind of max kind of thing is like around 130, then, or 135, you know, around that region, it's kind of like, you know, I need to level up my game. But moving on to, you know, incline press, I think I have more of a plan on what I'm gonna do with that, where I would probably more or less aim for 10 reps with this, because doing 5 reps with 100, sure, I can do it, but like I've been able to do that for like months now, so it's just more or less kind of putting things in place to where I can, you know, try and up my game on, you know, what I want to do, which is, you know, increase strength, which is, you know, over time become more difficult, which you'll definitely see how difficult it really will get in the next video, because of course, you know, you get PRs and everything in certain sectors, but, you know, certain areas can remain stagnant and have plateaus, which, you know, of course I am trying to gain, you know, muscle and, you know, put on some extra weight to get up to 105 category, which, you know, I'll probably be around 98 or something, but I'll just have to see, because I might just give myself a mock meet in my own in this gym, because, you know, I don't know whether if I'll be moving or not, hence why the videos have been, you know, so inconsistent, because you know, I'm moving again hopefully, and get away from shitty neighbours. So yeah, basically I have a lot of stress and a lot of stuff on my mind, which of course the gym has helped me tremendously regulate this. And you know, if you're struggling, wherever, do not think of the functional rubbish, just train, because, you know, it's really good for your mental sanity to, you know, be physically active. Because I can tell you this, if I didn't train, I'd probably be, you know, in a ditch somewhere, but at least we're here, at least we're training and being strong as fuck. So, you know, we'll have to you know, see as time goes on, because I mean, I can give you a bit of insight on what's you know, how the bench press situation's going. It's not going too well, because, you know, I've been very stagnant on it, and basically I will be doing 4 reps next time, 4 rep max with 130 or 135, you know, that kind of range, because of course I've done 135 for free before, so maybe getting an extra rep will, you know, activate that kind of like stimulus to make me stronger. So, you know, it's just mixing it up now and again, which Of course, on deadlifts, I got it anyway. Bit of a spoiler. And like I said, I wasn't going to give spoilers, but now I'm giving spoilers. But you will see in the next video, you know, how successful that was. But, you know, I did deadlifts, new PR, and, you know, I'm going to be working down, so like going to 4, then to 3, then to 2, you know. It's kind of like, you know, that momentum building and everything. Of course, you know, deadlift forms actually picked up quite the pace and everything, and you know, it's looking pretty good. Meanwhile, bench press form's good, but you know, I might be moving to wide grip, you never know, because honestly, it'll reduce the range of motion, sure, but I don't go insanely wide. I don't go like to the point where my arms look like they're doing gymnastics or yoga. But you know, it'll reduce the range of motion, but also, you know, I'll be able to bench more. So it's just, and plus my grip's very close. Like we're talking within 2 inch of the rough bit ending in the middle. So you know, of course I have to, you know, mix it up and do some other stuff, because you never know, bench press close grip might not be my thing. So we'll have to see. But overall, the hypertrophy side, which you've been seeing while I've been yapping, has been going quite well. I've noticed some gains in the, you know, chest, of course. I've noticed some gains in the tricep, oddly enough, because, you know, I've reduced, you know, my volume on my triceps for ages now. So like I do 3 sets of tricep extensions and 2 sets of push downs, which is just generally how I train triceps. So basically, I used to do skull crushers before. Like, you know, they used to do a lot for me, you know, in terms of strength and, you know, hypertrophy. But I feel like, you know, they just faded and just weren't really that useful, because they weren't increasing my bench press, which I used them for. But now I just do tricep extension for my you know, long head, lateral head, whatever you want to call it. I think it is long head because, you know, it's the longest. But long head, and then for my lateral head, sorry, I'm a bit tired and it's like 10 in the afternoon. But for my lateral head, doing some push downs, and you know, I'm doing some heavy push downs, you know, because I want that power in my arms, of course, and everything. So, you know, I keep saying, you know, a lot, I've noticed that, but just the power in my arms and everything. So hey-ho, it's worked in terms of hypertrophy, but you know, arm strength is still, and upper body strength is still not there, to the point where it's acceptable and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, no posing this entire week because the changing rooms were you know, being worked on. Now, before you make a Joey Swole video, basically I film myself away from where people are naked. It's like around the corner that people are naked, and if anyone is naked, of course I'm going to delete it, because, you know, it's very inappropriate. And also I respect people's space in the gym, and I try my best to point my camera away from people, because I like it, because people may think I'm a narcissist when I say this. I want to film myself. I don't think that's really narcissistic to say. I don't really want you in my frame, because I'm just trying to record myself. But if anyone gets in the way or, you know, anything like that, I'm not really bothered, because at the end of the day,
It's a public gym, and I'm not the sole provider of the gym. I provide them with £220 a year, which in comparison to what some people spend here is a lot less. So I'm technically the most useless and the least profitable, because I really do use the gym a lot, if you can't tell, because I'm literally 5 days on the gym, and I have one rest day, and then one day I'm doing MMA. So I kind of do a lot of things besides the gym, although I like to think people think the gym's my life, which I do work for a health club anyway, so it kind of does consume my life. But yeah, hopefully all goes well. But we will be moving on to the leg day, because of course I've been yapping a bit much, but that's just to skip over the triceps and everything, because we're going to go on to legs, which is more interesting, because with squats I actually hit my PR, and this I think on this day I was feeling pretty good anyway. So pause squats mainly for the bottom half of the position. If you are struggling with depth and pain in any way, shape or form in the hip area, like hip flexor, all that kind of stuff, I'd say putting in some pause squats will definitely alleviate that, because it strengthens those muscles that you don't really see, and those internal muscles that basically are the source of that pain. And I find they work, and it's really done well. They've really done well. So I'm very grateful that my friend gave me this program, and I've been able to fix it and do whatever I want with it. But now onto RDLs, which I'm doing 140 kilos, mainly because my grip sucks, and with the constant tension of 140 kilos, it's not very comfortable. So I decide just to stick at it until my grip gets better, basically. But I have done 170 before for 5, but maybe increase it a bit. I'll have to see, because RDLs are not just for your hamstrings and stuff, it's for your posterior chain. And I found with my back pain, which used to be a problem, it's gone away now, so I think the RDLs have sorted that bit out. But now on to torture, which is split squats with an elevated foot. So I don't think you can see, but my foot is elevated on a platform, mainly so I can go deeper and everything, and I'm not hitting the floor. But Bulgarians, although very, very, very uncomfortable, do have their place in training, because of course with trying to build a good squat you need a good set of legs, which Bulgarians allow a lot more range of motion than you may think, because essentially it's like a squat, basically. You can go as far as your body can go. Meanwhile, with a leg press, which I kind of a love-hate relationship with leg press, because of how it's built, because my body's in the way, and we don't have a hack squat here, so it's kind of like, do I just sack off leg press, or do I just sack off leg extensions? But yeah, again, I love leg extensions, so it's kind of like battling between those two, really. So you get to see leg extensions again, which honestly I might keep it this way, where I'm just doing split squats and then leg extensions, because with leg press I feel like it's a bit too much volume, you know, for legs particularly, because why the fuck am I doing, you know, several sets of quads? Like, I get when people say, oh, you need to increase the volume. You mean the volume in the set, you know? Because I think with the split squat, I managed to get an average of 8 or 10 reps. And then with like leg extensions, it's like, you know, 12 or 15. So I'm doing pretty good with it. And I've noticed quite a lot of leg growth. So I'm clearly doing something right. So whatever's working, it's working. But I think it's mainly split squats that I've, you know, done wonders, because although very painful, they do work. So if I want some good motherfucking legs, I do need to do a lot of split squats, because, you know, although my legs are tiny in comparison to the weights that I managed to push, you know, I do want some squads to prove that I basically do that, and people to go, oh, I don't really believe you, which I've had multiple times. People don't believe I've squatted 245, and I just show them in video and they're like, fair play, because my legs in comparison to my upper body are kind of like out of proportion. So, you know, and plus, in my personal opinion, I don't have the best like build, you know, in terms of bodybuilding, because I kind of quit that a while ago, because, you know, I'm not the best built person in the entire world, just purely because I just don't have the frame for it. But I try my best to look the best I can, so you can't really squat me on that. But anyway, doing adductors next, mainly to provide stability, but also provide thickness to the leg, because of course need to get rid of that thigh gap, because what the fuck are we, a fucking woman? No, we are a man and we need some big ass legs. So did one set and then a drop set, which tends to be the case because I max out this machine anyway, because I've got some pretty strong adductors. I don't know why, but you know, they're pretty solid, very strong. But when it comes to, you know, what is it, abductors, I'm absolutely dog shit. But yeah, again, I don't really do that. You know, I did it once, and you know, I felt like I don't really need this. So I was stuck at adductors, and then leg curls will be after this, because, you know, we need to target the hamstrings yet again, but in a shortened position, because although the leg curl at my gym is absolutely terrible, it's still worth, you know, doing it, because I hate when people say, oh, my equipment's really shit. It doesn't mean anything. You know, if your equipment's really shit, it'd have to be breaking down constantly when you're using it, and for it to just rust away and blow into dust like Peter Parker and, you know, Infinity War. Because I feel like machines are bad, but they're not like terrible. Like, this isn't terrible. It isn't like, you know, I'm getting zero gains from it. I'm doing a leg curl to the point where, you know, it's stimulating a response, because I can literally feel my hamstring right now, and I can feel, you know, the muscle there from doing hamstring curls. So when people say, oh, my gym's just got terrible equipment, they're making an excuse before they've even, you know, tried, because you can see with my face I'm trying my hardest. So, you know, no excuses on my end, but you know, things happen. But leg day, fairly successful. Legs coming on pretty well, but we'll just have to see. But anyway, we'll be moving on to bench and back day, back bicep forearm day, because of course getting that bench volume in, I'm able to, you know, just put bench press on a back day. I know, a bit counterintuitive, but on paper it is, but you know, I bench press 3 times a week, which this is my tempo bench press session, which I did 125, it felt pretty easy, and then 110, which felt pretty easy. So, you know, a lot of wins there, although it did not translate to the actual important day. But anyway, you will see that in the next video, and you better like and subscribe, because guess what? We are on our way to 2,000 subscribers, because, you know, we need that 2,000 subscribers. So eventually I will be sponsored by a company that probably makes their clothes in China and probably abuses their workers and probably puts kids on steroids. But anyway, less about the fitness industry, more about bench press. So, but yeah, just tempo bench, really good if you struggle with strength and form issues, because you have to maintain that posture constantly. And yes, it is torture in my personal opinion. I'd say it's kind of like the Bulgarian split squat of bench press, if you get what I mean. So if you're willing to go through torture, then do it. But onto an exercise that I haven't done in a while, shrugs, because, you know, the cable was taken, and I've kind of like fallen out of love with you know, some, you know, good old cable rows, because I just don't feel them as much as I would like to, because of course I'm able to do the weight, I'm able to do the weight with form, and I just don't feel them. I just don't feel them anymore. That's why I went to you know, shrugs. So I'm kind of cheating on my program in a way, but you know, shrugs, they do the job, and they do it quite well. And of course I've got you know, wraps, which I don't usually use my wraps, but for shrugs I do, because it's very awkward to put the bar back on the thing if you don't have them on, which is very weird. So yeah, I just kind of put them on and go with the flow. But when it comes to lat pull down, I don't, because, you know, I use a mag grip, which is like a grip that has it's not like, you know, straight bar. It's like, you know, got grips on the ends, and I use the wide grip, and I find it pretty stimulating, because, you know, I'm getting that lower back you know, stimulation, so trying to get the lower lats, which is why you see me rocking back and forth. I keep saying this because some idiot in my comments was like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that, you're not doing it right. Well, guess what? I'm doing it right for me. If I was being a Hmong and just, you know, pulling down to my chest with no mind muscle connection, then you can criticize me. But, you know, I'm not just pulling it down to my chest, I'm squeezing my whole back, which is clearly did not see, because I'm not like chucking the weight around like a idiot. I'm doing it with purpose, and, you know, that's the best way to be, because, you know, if you're trying to get bigger, you need to have your mind muscle connection on point, which took a while for me to learn, but, you know, I got there in the end, and, you know, I've managed to reap the rewards from it. So But afterwards, moving on to lat pullover just for 2 sets, because I feel like with my lats, they're doing all right. Of course, I can do with some work, but you know, I think the more important parts are my arms, in particular my forearms, just to get back up to, you know, where it looks semi-decent, because I feel like my forearm arm area ratio to my torso is not really great. It's kind of like my leg situation where it looks a bit out of proportion, and of course I don't want that, because, you know, although I am a powerlifter, I do train in a bodybuilding fashion to look better, because although I will be chasing it for probably until the day I die, but I do want to look, you know, semi-decent, and, you know, keep working at it, because I don't know what the quote is, but it's a shame to see a man grow old without seeing the beauty and strength his body's capable of, because it's pretty real to me. You know, I want to see how strong and, you know, big I can get naturally, because I see all these guys just on steroids, and, you know, they get it instantly. Like, there's a 16-year-old on steroids. He's got his results instantly. And, you know, he's getting that instant gratification. And the way I see instant gratification is just, it's a bit boring, you know, because, of course, I'm doing constant, you know, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, but I'm doing it with intention, and I'm doing it with, you know, I'm excited, I'm doing something new. I just don't have those massive jumps anymore. I have to work for it, and that's the kind of exciting bit I like about the gym, because I have those tiny little wins, and they feel like the biggest win of all time, because, you know, it took a lot for me to get there, and those tiny wins just mean the world, really, to me, because even on Parichico, where, you know, people may not see the difference, but I see the difference in my brachialis muscle. You know, the muscle that basically goes from like the bicep area to, you know, your forearm. I've noticed a big change in how that thick that's gotten, and, you know, I've got that gratification from that, and it's delayed. It's delayed gratification. It's not like it happened overnight. It just literally happened over time, and, you know, I get that. I feel way better when I do not get given something just because of existing, and I feel like steroids are a bit of that kind of like way out. Although I know a lot of people with steroids, they train hard as fuck, but I want to see how, you know, my natural body can be pushed, because I feel like it's way more important to push yourself naturally than unnaturally, because what's the point unless you're, you know, competing? But anyway, incline hammer curls, and then moving on to some wrist curls on the cable, because I couldn't get a spot for, well, not a spot as in a person, as in a spot in the gym to do my wrist curls with a barbell, but, you know, either one, not too bothered. But anyway, that's all from me today. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate your support, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
You can have a couple more pinky toes, I think. After saying that she looks like a 10-year-old boy, you said she can have a couple of your pinky toes.